This video is based on control statements in programming languages. These are the languages we will be covering in this video tutorial. Control statements are the statements that select or repeat the control flow of a program. Control structure is a control statement and a statement whose execution is controlled. There are three basic types of control statements, namely sequence, selection, and repetition. Sequence. Sequence is the simplest control structure. Basic arithmetic, logical and bit operations are in this category. Data moves, copies are also sequences. Most register and processor control operations are sequences. Some computer scientists group subroutines and functions as a special kind of sequence, while others group them as a special kind of branching structure. Sequential structures are done sequentially. It is a program segment where statements are executed one after the other. Selection. Selection structure consists of direct and indirect jumps, including the infamous goto, conditional jumps if, nested ifs, and case or switch state structures. The basic structure of if condition is stated here. Here, the condition is a Boolean expression. If the condition is true, then the statements are executed. If the condition is false, statements are bypassed. This is the structure of switch. The control expression and the constant expressions are integer type. The selectable statements can be statement sequences, compound statements, or blocks. The optional default segment is for unrepresented values of the control expression. If the value of control expression is not represented, the construct does nothing. The switch construct does not provide implicit branches in code segments. This allows control to flow through more than one selectable code segment on a single execution. Repetition. Repetition for loop control structures are do, while, do until, and for loops. The basic structure of the do-while loop is represented here. Executes its body at least once, because its condition expression is at the bottom of the loop. Each iteration of the do-while loop first executes the body of the loop and then evaluates the condition expression. If this expression is true, the loop will repeat, otherwise the loop terminates. This is the while loop structure. Another essential control structure. In each iteration in the while loop, first the condition is checked, and when the condition is true, the body is executed. If the condition is false, loop terminates. The number of iterations cannot always be predetermined in a while loop. This is for loop structure. When the exact number of iterations are known, for loop can be used. Let's move on to control statements in practice. Most programming languages with control structures have an initial keyword which indicates the type of control structure being used. Languages are then divided as control structures without final keyword and control structures with final keyword. Algol 60, C, C++, C#, Ruby, Java, Pascal, PHP and Python are example languages without the final keyword. So, these languages make some way of grouping statements together. For the other category, which has a final keyword, Algol 68 and part1.mp4 are examples. These languages use any keyword or keywords on their own, such as asec to encase to group statements. Let's move into next part. Sequence control statements for each language. This is the primitive C++ program sequence. Operators used and their precedence is stated in this slide. From now on, I'll go through example control structures in each language very briefly because most of the structures are very similar. On to selection control statements in C++. Example coding of a switch case is represented here. The X variable within the brackets will be filled by either 1, 2 or some other value, and accordingly the output will be given. Code statement example. If n is greater than 0, go to command will be executed and the execution jump into the location where the loop is in the structure. This is a if statement example. Here, if the x is equal to 100, it will be printed x is 100. Now we looked into Ruby examples of switch case. Here the I variable is equal to 8 and it will print 6 to 10. If example in Ruby, I's value is 0, its 0 will be printed. 2 is not defined in Ruby. Next, we move on to Python if statement. If n is equal to 0, you typed 0 will be printed. Switch case statement. According to the letters A, B or C, the according arithmetic operations will occur. Here, where a variable x will be filled with either 1, 0, 3, 4. C# selection. This is the example coding for C# if statement. The boolean type /check variable is being used here. If the flag check is equal to true, the flag set is set to true will be printed in the command line. Switch case example. According to the grade you have achieved, the relevant information will be printed in the screen. We go to example. Now we move on to PHP selection.